Trust is the foundation to a very strong bond with your team. Without that bond, working with each other becomes a hassle, becomes very difficult. We often say that we want 10x engineers, 10x employees in our organizations. And sometimes we just forget that that 1x engineer or that 2x engineer can become a 10x engineer if that engineer gets along with their team. If every single member of that team is now a 2x engineer or a 5x engineer, suddenly you see that you have a 100x team that can outperform every other team because they have that strong bond between them. In Elon Musk's book, he says that he prefers to have small but tightly knit team because a 50 engineer team can outperform even a 1,000 engineer team. And he tried to prove that when he laid off such a big team in Twitter, because he believed that we don't need that many people. If we have just a small team who are tightly knit, who can really perform well together, we can make things happen at Twitter. So here are the 3 things that I do that helps me build trust with my team and create a very strong bond. The first thing is how I conduct my one-on-ones. I am extremely transparent as much as I can, given the information that I need to indulge in. Very honest, even if it's very uncomfortable to hear from the other person or even me, if they need to say something to me as well. And I'm very confrontational. I love confrontations. It's not uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable, but it was a skill that I developed along many years of being really bad at it. What I learned to do throughout my leadership roles is that rather than shy away from telling the truth or being transparent, is I needed to work on my delivery. It was my delivery that improved after every one-on-one. One of the most uncomfortable one-on-ones that I had with someone was telling an engineer that he was not cut out to work at this company. But the way I explained it to him and mentioning the objective reasons why he's not cut out made him not be defensive in that conversation, to the point that we moved from this point to the point of how he can navigate his career given his passions, given his strengths, and given the way he likes to work. And I was able to mentor him and say, you know what, I think company X or company Y might be a better fit because of the way they operate, which I knew already, given my knowledge of the market and different companies and their work culture. It was one of those rare moments where being honest, but being very objective in my honesty as to how I made that judgment about a person made us work together about, hey, are these reasons true? And once he believed in those reasons that I mentioned to him, we talked about what he can do instead. The second thing is that if I promise, I deliver, right? And if I don't deliver, or let's say I know that I cannot deliver something, then I'm proactive in my communication as much as I can, right? I failed sometimes, and it definitely damaged the relationship a little bit, but I tried not to make it a habit. So if I promise someone something, someone that I manage, there's an action that I need to carry out, I carry it out. When I do promise them, however, I promise, hey, you know what, I'll take this action, but give me some time. I'm quite busy. I'm going to book my calendar to make sure that I don't forget. Please come back to me in a week or in 7 working days. Now, I know that that task is in my calendar, so I know that I need to do something within a few days, but if for whatever reason that will not happen, I will inform that person, hey, you know what, this is not going to happen. Something happened along the way. It's going to prevent me from taking this action that I promised you. These are the reasons. And this is something else that we can do instead. If you want to talk about it, please let me know. You can come and we're going to have a 15-minute talk about what else can we do. So be proactive. Finally, in my one-on-ones with my team members and the people that I manage, I let them express themselves as much as they want to, given the allocated time. If we need to go overboard and I don't have that ability because I have another meeting lined up afterwards, I'll just tell them, you know what, let's pause here. I'll book another meeting. Let's continue talking then, right? But during my one-on-ones, I let them express themselves as much as they want to, even if it's feelings that I just don't relate to. Instead, I'll be very curious and I'll ask them, hey, look, I don't relate, but I would love to know, why do you feel the way you feel? And what happens then is that they feel very diffused from their strong emotions and they're very open to feedback, which allows me then to either understand the reason and either I will agree with it or disagree with it. And if I disagree, I need to understand, do I Does that person have that perspective because of lack of information? They don't know the full situation about why the way things are. Then, it's just a simple matter of indulging that information so that they can have the right perspective. Or they might have had that opinion about something just because of the way they look at things, which I'll share. You know what? Hey, I don't dismiss the way you look at things or your perspective, but instead, how about we look at it this way instead? Maybe you'll have a different feeling about it. Rarely do these conversations end up in disagreeing. They do happen every once in a while, but not often. But again, it's very important to let them express themselves. Listen to their reasons, really be curious about them, and maybe talk about your opinion, but in an open way that you don't impose your opinion on them, but rather share it and say, hey, this is how I feel. This is the way I look at it because of these reasons. What do you think? And those are the things that I do to build trust. I would love to hear about your opinions, if you do something else, or maybe you disagree with me, and I would love to know why.